Hi there. In the past few lectures, we discussed everything from if and else statements to for loops to while loops to creating our own functions. In this lecture, let's dive deeper into Python and see what it has in store for us. Open up your IDEAly, if it's not already open, and follow me. So Python has many functions already integrated into its code that we can use. I will be giving you a good amount here. The first one is the abs function. The abs function returns the absolute value of a number. If you don't know what the absolute value is, I'll tell you right now. All positive numbers, the absolute value of any positive number is the number itself. But the absolute value of any negative number will in return give you a positive number, the positive of that negative number. So let's try it out. If we do abs and then in brackets minus 23, we get 23. abs minus 500, 500. abs 342, 342. All it does is it converts the negative numbers into positive numbers. And if that positive number, if the number is already positive, it just prints that out. Great. This is one of many functions in Python. Let's get on to the next. The second function is the bool function. The name bool is short for boolean, and that gives us an either or thing, that either it can be true or false. This is the bool concept. Now, while using bools, it'll always give us true if it has some data. So if I said print bool 1, true. Print bool ASD, random stuff, true. The only time that bool would give me a false value is when it's 0. So if I said print bool 0, false. And this is key because this can be used in games or in your coding. When you need to check if something is returned true or false, you can use the bool statement here. Also, if you try something like print bool and then an empty array, it'll give me false because it's empty. So whenever the value of something is empty, 0, something like that, it'll return false. Otherwise, when there is information, it'll always return true. The bool function will also return false for lists, tuples, and maps that do not contain any value. I just showed you a list here, but it'll also work for the tuples and dictionaries as well. The next function is the dir function, dir, for the short form of directory. The dir function returns information about any value. Basically, it tells you the functions that can be used with that value in alphabetical order. For example, let's say we wanted to find out what we can do with an array. So dir, in brackets, just put an array. These are all the functions that can be done with arrays. All the ones that start with these two underspaces and end with them too are not of use to us. But the last ones, append, clear, copy, count, extend, index, insert, pop, remove, reverse, sort, all of these are used to us. We've already used the append function in our previous lectures, and we'll be able to use many more. Let's say we wanted to find out what does a clear function do of an array. Well, the Python has a module for that as well. What we do is What we do first is we first create a variable, let's just call it array, is equal to blank, and then we say help, in brackets, array dot, let's say I wanted to know what count does, dot count. There we go, click enter, help on built-in function count. Count dot dot dot, method of built-in list instance, returns number of occurrences of valid. So let's say we use a dir function on something and we got a list of functions and we didn't know what the functions did. Python created the function for that as well. It's called the help function. All we do is you're going to say help, the variable name dot function that you want to know about, and it will return what the function does. Isn't that great? Now let's say we use a directory on a string to find out what a string can do for us. It can do all these things. Let's say we want to know what does the upper do. So we do create an instance string string is equal to blank, and then we're gonna say help string dot upper. Alright, it returns a copy of the string converted to uppercase. Isn't that cool? Great. We've now gone over through 3 and 4 functions. Let's continue on. Next function is the eval function. The eval function, short for evaluate, takes a string as a parameter and returns it as though it were a Python expression. For example, if we did eval, print hello, what do you think it'll do? Alright, sorry, print should be in, okay, you should start off with a single, the hello should be in double, and end with a single. Now, when you do this, hello. So basically what eval does is, it'll take whatever string is in your evaluate and run it as if it were a Python expression. So if I said eval, let's see here, if I wanted to multiply 3 numbers together, 23 into 15 into 16 into 8. Click enter, 2944. So basically what Python did is it took away the quotation marks and actually did the multiplication. Now, eval has quite a lot of uses. The eval function is often used to turn user input into Python expressions. Say for case you were creating a calculator and the user entered an expression and you wanted to calculate that. You could easily use the eval function to calculate and return the result. Awesome. Alright. I refreshed my page. You can do that if you want. I just like working on a clean slate. The next function we'll be dealing with is a float function. Now, I'm sure you must remember while dealing with divisions in the previous lecture, we've gotten the decimal values. Now, that is because of floats. What are floats? The float function converts a string or a number into a floating point number, which is a number with a decimal place. For example, the number 10 is an integer, but 10.0, 10.2, 10.531, these are all floats. You can convert a string to a float quite easily. All you do, float, and then in brackets, the number. So 12. Click enter, 12.0. Float 10. 10.0. Now you can use even a decimal string that's already a float, or is already a string, so 10.235 whatever. Click enter. This is now in float. So floats are floating point integers, i.e. they are decimal numbers. You might use float to convert values you entered into your program into proper numbers. And this is particularly useful when you need to compare the value a person entered with other values. Great. Now, just like the float function, there's another function, int. The int function converts a string or a number into a whole number. The float function converted it into a float. The int function will convert it into an int. So if I had, for example, a number int 123.456, this will give me 123. It basically rounds off the decimal number to a whole number. We don't get the 0.0 like in floats. If you did int 10.0, we'll get 10. The decimal gets removed. But for example, if we try doing it with a string, 10.0, we'll get an error message. This is because we are not allowed to do this. You cannot convert a string into an integer just like that. Awesome. The next function we'll be dealing with is the len function. Len, as you might have guessed, stands for length. The len function returns the length of an object, or in the case of a string, the number of characters in the string. Let's create a test string. Test string is equal to this is a test string. And if you want to find out how many characters are in the string, all we do, test string dot, we're going to do len test string 21, i.e. there are 21 characters in the string. Now let's say we were in an array. Let's create a test array is equal to 2, 3, 6, 7, 4, 5. And if we say len test array, what do we get? 6. There are 6 values in the test array. Now if we were creating a for loop, which is going to iterate through each value in the test array, we would do for I in test array. But what we could also do is for I in range 0, length of test array. That would give us the number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then using test array in the square brackets 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we could get its value. I'll quickly show you how. For I in range 0, len test array, colon, we're going to say print test array I. I hope you get what we're doing. 2, 3, 6, 7, 4, 5. All we did is we've set the ending point as the length of the array. Hopefully it makes sense. Alright, good. We're almost done with the functions here. Some of the last ones are the max and the min function. The max function returns the largest item in the list. For example, in our test array, if we try doing it, max of test array 7. It prints out the biggest value. Now, if we had a string array which had S, T, A, B, sorry, I forgot the equal sign, string array is equal to STAB, and we tried using the max function on this. What do you think it'll give? Click enter, it'll give us T, because while arranged alphabetically, T will come last, it is the biggest. Now, on the other side, the min function does the exact opposite. So if we did min of test array, we'll get 2, and min of string array should give us A. Awesome. I hope you got those. Quite simple functions, but they're commonly used. Last but not least is the sum function. We've already done the range function, but I'll go through that one more time. For I in range 1, 10, print I. That's how it normally works, but there are other instances of the range function as well. You could do something like print list range 0, 5. So what this did is the list function converts this into a list. Range 0, 5 will give you the number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. List, put that into an array, and we printed out that array. Simple as that. Last but not least, we came to the sum function. The sum function adds items in a list and returns the total. Here's an example. If we had an array, we already have a array, test array, 2, 3, 6, 7, 4, 5. Let's just say print sum of test array. Printed 27. Just added all the numbers up. Awesome. Let's do a quick recap of what we've done. We started off with the absolute value. We learned that the absolute value makes a negative number to positive, and positive keeps positive. Second was the bool. Bool will return true if it's some integer, but if it's 0 or null, null meaning no data, then it will return false. We learned about the dir and the help. Dir is the directory. If you use dir on anything, it will give you a list of functions which we can use. And if you want to know what each function does, you can use the help. Great. After that, we learned about the float. We learned that floats give us decimal values, integer give us the whole values. After that, the length. we learned about we can find out how many items are in an array and how many characters are in a string. And then last but not least, we learned about the max and min, the biggest and the smallest, the range, and then the sum. Awesome. This was a pretty packed tutorial. Great. In the next tutorial, we'll be learning about files. Creating a file, opening a file, editing a file, saving a file. See you in the next lecture.